Beginning, the girl who fell from the sky. The first time humanity saw the alien ship, most people thought it was an asteroid. It appeared without warning on the outer edge of the solar system, gliding silently past Pluto before adjusting its course toward Earth. Governments panicked. Satellites tracked it. Military forces prepared for a war nobody understood. But the ship never fired a weapon. Instead, it broke apart above the Pacific Ocean. Thousands of glowing fragments scattered across the sky like falling stars. News cameras captured the spectacle live, burning trails slicing through the atmosphere. Most of the debris vaporized. One piece didn't. A small, smooth capsule slammed into the water several miles off the coast of California. Within minutes, rescue vessels were already racing toward the impact site. Among them was a young marine biologist named Daniel Reyes, who had been studying deep ocean currents from a research vessel nearby. His team arrived first, expecting wreckage. Instead, they found a life pod. The surface of the pod shimmered like liquid metal. No seams. No visible engines. Just a faint blue glow pulsing beneath the surface. "Is that alive?" one of the crew whispered. Daniel moved closer. The pod suddenly split open with a quiet hiss. Inside lay a young woman. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin had a faint silver tint. Her hair flowed like liquid midnight, and delicate patterns of light glowed faintly along her arms like living circuitry. And when she opened her eyes, they shone like distant stars. She stared up at Daniel with confusion and fear. Then she spoke in a voice soft and melodic. "Where am I?" Daniel blinked. "Earth," he said slowly. Her expression changed. Relief flooded across her face. "Good," she whispered. "Then I made it." Then she passed out. Daniel had no idea that the unconscious girl lying in the life pod was Princess Alira of the AlienEmpire, or that her arrival would change the future of two civilizations. Middle, the princess who shouldn't have been there. For the next several weeks, the world went into chaos. The AlienPrincess, Alira, was placed in a secure international research facility while scientists, diplomats, and linguists worked around the clock to understand her. Daniel, oddly enough, became her primary translator. Nobody understood why. But Alira insisted. "The human who found me," she told the scientists calmly, "is the one I trust." So, Daniel stayed. At first, their conversations were simple. Basic questions. Who she was, where she came from, why she had come to Earth. The answers stunned everyone. Alira belonged to the AlienEmpire, one of the oldest civilizations in the known galaxy. Her people had mastered faster-than-light travel centuries ago and ruled dozens of star systems. But their empire had a problem. A terrible one. "The Kalari are dying," Alira said quietly during one of their late-night conversations. Daniel frowned. "Dying? Our species cannot reproduce naturally anymore," she explained. "For generations, we relied on genetic engineering to maintain our population. But the more we altered ourselves, the more fragile our biology became. Within a few centuries, natural births became almost impossible. The empire survived through artificial cloning, but clones weren't the same. They lack individuality," Alira admitted softly. "Creativity, adaptability, the qualities that made our civilization strong." Daniel leaned back in his chair. "So, why come to Earth?" Alira looked directly at him. "Because humans are the opposite." Her voice carried a quiet admiration. "You evolve quickly, adapt to hostile environments, survive diseases that would wipe out entire species. Your biology is chaotic, but incredibly resilient." Daniel chuckled nervously. "You're saying we're genetic chaos?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. Then she smiled. "And that is exactly what we need." Daniel felt a strange chill. You mean combining our species? Elira nodded slowly. A hybrid future. The room fell silent. Even the scientists watching behind the glass stopped moving. Wait, Daniel said carefully. You're talking about creating human Kalari children? Yes. The words echoed like a thunderclap. Elira folded her hands gently in her lap. It is the only way our species can survive. Daniel rubbed his face. You realize how insane this sounds, right? Yes. But you still came here? Her eyes softened. Because humans are not afraid of impossible futures. The growing connection. As weeks turned into months, Daniel and Elira spent more time together. Not just interviews or experiments. Conversations. Real ones. He showed her Earth's oceans through holographic projections. She shared stories of crystal forests on distant planets and cities floating in nebula clouds. Slowly, something unexpected began to grow between them. Trust. Elira admired humanity's stubborn resilience. Daniel admired Elira's quiet strength. One evening, they sat together watching a sunset through the research facility's reinforced glass dome. Elira tilted her head curiously. Why do humans watch sunsets? Daniel shrugged. I guess it reminds us that endings can be beautiful. She smiled softly. On my world, sunsets last 3 hours. Daniel laughed. I'm jealous. Elira hesitated. Daniel, may I ask you something? Sure. Do humans fear change? All the time, he said honestly. Then how do you still move forward? Daniel thought about it. Then he answered simply. We do it anyway. Elira watched him carefully. Her glowing eyes reflected the fading sunlight. I think, she said slowly, that is why I chose your world. The proposal that shocked 2 worlds. 6 months after Elira arrived, the AlienEmpire finally contacted Earth. A massive diplomatic vessel appeared in orbit, sleek, elegant, and unimaginably advanced. The message they delivered stunned humanity. Princess Elira had been sent on a genetic compatibility mission. If Earth agreed, the AlienEmpire would begin a program to create hybrid descendants of both species. The future of their empire, and perhaps humanity's expansion into the stars, depended on it. But there was a final condition. Elira would choose the first partner, the one who would help start the hybrid line. During a globally broadcast meeting, the Kalari ambassador asked the princess a single question. Your Highness, have you made your choice? Billions watched. Elira stood calmly before the cameras. Her eyes moved through the crowd of diplomats, scientists, and world leaders. Then she looked at Daniel and smiled. Yes. Gasps erupted across the room. Daniel nearly choked. The ambassador nodded solemnly. Then let the future begin. Ending. The choice that changed the galaxy. The days that followed were overwhelming. Debates raged across Earth. Some people feared the idea of hybrid species. Others saw it as the greatest opportunity in human history. Through it all, Elira remained calm. And Daniel remained stunned. One evening, they stood together on the observation deck of the Kalari diplomatic ship. Earth glowed beneath them like a blue jewel. Daniel exhaled slowly. 6 months ago I was studying coral reefs. Elira smiled. And now you are helping shape the future of 2 civilizations. Yet no pressure. They both laughed. Then Daniel turned serious. Why me, Elira? She looked at him quietly. Because you treated me like a person before you knew I was a princess. Daniel blinked. You mean when I thought you were a shipwreck survivor? Yes. Her voice softened. You showed kindness without expecting anything in return. Daniel looked down at the planet below. So, what happens now? Elira stepped closer. Now we build something new. Together? Yes. She took his hand gently. For the first time in centuries, the Empire has hope. Daniel smiled nervously. And humanity? Elira looked out at the stars. Humanity just received an invitation. To where? She squeezed his hand. The galaxy. Daniel laughed softly. Well, when you put it that way, I guess saying yes wasn't such a bad idea. Elira tilted her head. Daniel? Yeah. Do humans have a phrase for moments like this? He thought about it for a second. Then he grinned.
Yeah.
We do. He looked at the endless stars waiting beyond Earth. We call it the beginning of a new chapter. Elira smiled warmly. Then she whispered the words that would echo across two civilizations. And I am glad I said yes. Below them, Earth turned slowly beneath the stars. Above them, the galaxy waited. And somewhere in the future, children who were both human and Kalari would look up at those same stars and call them home.